Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Mind's Eye, and thank you all for tuning in. So this is follow-up to my 10 springtime and summertime album videos. And since we're already here in the middle of September, we're going to hit on 10 fall or autumn albums. Kind of hard to believe that we're at this point in the year already, but I've picked out 10 albums that always sort of put me in the mood for fall or autumn, and albums that I have fond memories of that happened in the fall or the autumn. So we're going to take a look at those. This is not necessarily a ranking. These are just 10 albums that I picked out. So starting off with this one right here, I'm going to go with the very first rock album that I ever owned, Kiss Destroyer. And there's really a couple of different Kiss albums that I could have gone with. I think most notably Psycho Circus was the other one I was really considering, but I got this album in late September or early October of 2001. And I think just to go along with the fall, this is just a very good sort of Halloween album, of course, with Kiss and the makeup and the costumes and whatnot. It's like perfect for Halloween. But I also recall seeing on the Kiss Behind the Makeup thing clips of them doing that Halloween special in 1976. And I can't remember what the name of the show was, but they performed a couple of songs, including King of the Nighttime World and Beth. And that just always comes to my mind when I think of Destroyer, and always comes to my mind when I think of Halloween. So the two sort of go together for me. So that's going to be my first fall album, is Destroyer by Kiss. All right, number 2 on my list is going to be the only one that I don't have a physical copy of as of right now for this list, but that is AC/DC's Black Ice. Far from being my favorite AC/DC album, but the songs I do like on the album, I really do like. And those ones just sort of kind of always remind me of fall time, because it did come out in the fall of 2008. And just sort of that being the first year that I didn't have to go back to school because I graduated in June of 08. So my kind of like first school year of freedom, I remember driving around and just kind of going about life, jamming out to songs like Rock and Roll Train and Skies on Fire, Anything Goes, Big Jack. So that one, the songs I do revisit on that album usually do give me pretty good fall vibes. So next up, one of my all-time favorite albums, Eat to the Beat by Blondie. I think this one, the one that really drives this one home to me is Victor. I didn't discover this album in the fall. I think it might have been released in the fall or the winter of 79. I'm not sure. I don't remember offhand. But this one, I think is just Victor, especially when you watch the music video for it, and Debbie she's kind of dressed in like that. It's like that. It's really like spooky Halloweenish type setting, and Debbie's wearing the black like cape or robe or whatever, and then she just kind of does her scream. It's very spooky, and it really sets an atmosphere that I think just sort of takes over the rest of this album. And the fact that this album has a music video for every song, so like that whole music video album that they have sort of kind of goes together, and this one just kind of gives me a really fall vibe. So I really dig this album. Like I said, it's one of my favorite albums of all time, actually. But this one for me is extremely fall. So the next one, let's go back to 2009, and we have Dear Agony from Breaking Benjamin, which was released in September of 09. And I may be the only Breaking Benjamin fan in the world who feels this way, but I was really disappointed with Phobia. That was never my favorite album, but despite that, I was really, really looking forward to Dear Agony when it came out. Picked it up when it dropped, and I was pretty hooked on this album for a couple of weeks, and just remember driving around in the fall of 09 with this one blaring in the car. Songs like Give Me a Sign, Dear Agony, Fade Away, great stuff. So Breaking Benjamin's Dear Agony is a pretty fall time album to me. Same year, 2009, this one comes out same day as Sonic Boom from Kiss, if I'm not mistaken. It was either the same day or they might have been like a week apart or whatever. But I picked this one up at Walmart, and I was really surprised. I didn't realize that Joe Perry was planning on releasing a new solo album, so it kind of caught me off guard. But nonetheless, I picked it up. My buddy bought Sonic Boom, so I bought this just kind of so I could hear them both, and decided that I'll go get Sonic Boom like on my next paycheck or whatever. But and I really dug this one. I think this one has some really nice high points on it. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can look up the singer's name here. He's just listed as Hagen, but the guy can sing. He's a really good singer, and he sounds very similar to Steven Tyler. Like, he almost could be like a young Steven Tyler protege, at least on this album. That's what he sounds like. And I really like the songs that he sings. Like, We Got a Long Way to Go, I think, is a really killer song with some great vocals from Hagen. All the other songs I'm thinking of that are coming to my mind are Joe Perry sung tracks, like Slingshot's always been one of my favorites. Someone's Gonna Get Their Head Kicked in the Night, I think, was Joe on vocals. Scare the Cat. So, some cool stuff. I think there's some you know, kind of lesser filler material on here as well, but a step up from Joe's '05 solo album, and just one that I remember going back and forth between this and Sonic Boom during October of 2009. So nice, some nice memories attached to that one right there. All right, next up I have Widowmaker, Blood and Bullets. This is the fall of 2004 that I got this. I was still in my obsessed with Twisted Sister phase. And since Twisted Sister had a very small discography, I already had all 5 studio albums by this point. So I was starting to venture out into like some of Dee's solo albums and whatnot. And I picked this one up. And I remember just putting this one on my I guess I didn't have an iPod at the time, so I put this in my portable CD player, and I used to go out of town and help the pastor at my grandmother's church, like, rake up leaves and stuff out of her yard. So I would go over on nights after school and help, like, blow the leaves off the sidewalk and rake them up and whatnot. And this would kind of be the album I was jamming to. So can't get really more fall than having an album that brings back memories of raking leaves. So I got to put this one on here. Also thought about going with Still Hungry because that one came out about the same time, but I decided I'm gonna pull out the Widowmaker album. Next up, gotta have something from my favorite band on this list. As always, and there are a couple that I could have gone with. I think the one that comes to my mind the most is actually Bounce, but since I just did a review of that album and said pretty much all I could think to say on it, I decided not to go with that one. So I picked out Slippery When Wet. I picked this album up in the fall of 2002, I believe it was. Like October or so of 2002. And loved it, of course. But I think, aside from just having it cemented in my memory from kind of when I picked it up, you have the album starting off with that organy keyboard intro to Let It Rock that David Bryan does, which is pretty awesome. And tracks down the stretch on this one just always kind of gave me like fall vibes. Without You or Without Love, Wild in the Streets always kind of reminded me of, like, I could probably see how most people would feel that's like a summer night kind of a song, but I don't know, something about that just kind of screams like fall. I don't know why, but I think this album's pretty cool. Obviously, Slippery and Wet, and it always makes me think of fall, so I got to put this one on my list here, especially since I just did a review on Bounce, which is like the more fall album from Bon Jovi to me. Next up, I have Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, and honestly, I could put anything from this era of the band on this list. I think Fleetwood Mac just really strikes me as a fall sort of a group. I was working a job in 2018, and one of my tasks of the job was a pretty monotonous task, so I was listening to music, and that was a time that I got into YouTube, actually. I started finding all these awesome YouTube videos to watch, but I was in a mood to listen to music, but I was in the mood to listen to something that I hadn't really listened to before. So I pulled up like the mixtape on on the YouTube Music app, and a Fleetwood Mac song came on. I thought, you know what? I've never listened to Rumors from start to finish. I'm going to go and I'm going to just listen to that album start to finish. And what I didn't realize at the time was the fact that I knew 9 out of the 11 tracks on the album. I mean, as iconic as this album is, you don't really ever go into it expecting that you know like almost every single song, but that was the case. You know, Secondhand News was a song that I loved, never really knew the title of it. Dreams, of course, Never Going Back Again, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, The Chain, You Make Love and Fun. I think that one, You Make Love and Fun, is like the one that really feels like Halloweenish to me. Not because it's like a spooky type of a song, but like it just kind of gives me that late October kind of leaves falling off the ground or falling off the trees kind of a feel to it. I Don't Want to Know, Gold Dust Woman, whole album, awesome stuff. The only 2 songs on here that I didn't know before I listened to the album in its entirety was Songbird and Oh Daddy. And Oh Daddy really doesn't need to be here, in my opinion. I could totally do without that song. Cut that song and this album would be practically perfect. So Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. And like I said, you could put the self-titled one here. You could put Tusk here, and I wouldn't complain too much either, because those ones are very fall to me as well. Next up, how about a little Aerosmith, Done with Mirrors. I think this one is a very Halloweenish feeling album, not only with the album cover and the little Frankenstein dude on the back cover there, but musically as well. Tracks like Let the Music Do the Talking, My Fist, Your Face, Shame on You, just always really come across as like really Halloweenish type stuff. The Hop, like one of my favorite under the radar Aerosmith songs. Gypsy Boots, a lot of cool stuff. She's on Fire, Darkness, really sort of Halloweenish vibes there. So yeah, totally a Halloween feeling album right here. Aerosmith's Done with Mirrors. We got one more. This Foo Fighters, Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace, was released in September of 2007, and thus became the sort of soundtrack to at least the first half of my senior year in high school. And I was stuck on this album for months after its release, hence why this is a strong fall album for me. I spent all summer just being super, super stoked and excited about this album coming out. When Pretender was released as a single, I was excited. I thought it was fantastic. And then when the album dropped, you know, Let It Die, Long Road to Ruin was just instantaneously grabbed me and was my favorite song for a long time. Still my favorite Foo Fighters song. Cheer Up Boys, Your Makeup's Running, Summer's End. I mean, kind of like of course, that's a fall kind of a song. It's right in the title, Summer's End. Statues, but honestly, I love the sort of softer beginning to that song, and then the way that it sort of crashes out in the end is really cool. And Home, I just picture, you know, fall 2007, beginning of my senior year of high school. Good memories. So right there you have 10 fall time or autumn albums for me. Also worked in some that are sort of Halloweenish in my opinion as well. Let me know in the comments below some albums that you always associate with this time of year. If you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future, and I will catch you next time.